Ah, Batman. I wasn't expecting to find you here in this dusty corner of the library, though I suppose we both have our reasons for seeking refuge in forgotten places. Tell me, have you ever considered the philosophical implications of purple space tyrants?
That's specific. You mean THANOS. I've reviewed the reports from other universes. The Justice League keeps files on potential multiversal threats. Though I have to say, reading about someone who collects rocks to commit genocide makes my rogues gallery look almost reasonable by comparison.
Indeed.
Though one must appreciate the efficiency of his method, however morally reprehensible. A snap of the fingers versus years of systemic oppression and control. But that brings me to an interesting comparison. What of DARKSEID? Your own cosmic despot, as it were. How would you say he differs from the Mad Titan?
DARKSEID's worse. THANOS at least had a goal, twisted as it was. He genuinely believed he was saving the universe from resource scarcity. DARKSEID just wants to eliminate free will entirely. He's after the anti-life equation, mathematical proof that life is meaningless. Then he'd use it to control every living thing.
Fascinating. So one is a genocidal environmentalist with a messianic complex, and the other is a fascist god seeking to prove existence itself is futile. I must say, they both would have made excellent subjects for my own particular brand of revolution. Though I imagine the explosives required would be substantially more substantial.
You'd need more than explosives for either of them. THANOS fought the Avengers, the Guardians, cosmic entities. DARKSEID's fought Superman, Wonder Woman, the entire League multiple times. He's destroyed civilizations that existed before Earth had single-celled organisms. The scale is different when you're talking about gods versus enhanced humans.
Ah, but here's where it gets interesting, doesn't it? Power scaling across universes is such a nebulous concept. THANOS with the Infinity Gauntlet essentially becomes omnipotent within his universe. He can manipulate reality, time, space, mind, souls, and power itself. That's rather impressive.
The gauntlet only works in his universe, though. That's a key limitation. DARKSEID's powers are intrinsic to him. The Omega effect isn't dependent on external sources. He can erase you from existence, resurrect you, travel through time, mind control you. Plus his strength is on par with Superman.
I suppose that raises questions about the nature of power itself. Is it more impressive to wield tools of immense power, or to be the power? Rather like asking whether the artist or the art is more important, wouldn't you say?
Not really the same thing. THANOS without the gauntlet is still incredibly dangerous. He's fought Thor, Hulk, Silver Surfer without it. His intelligence is on par with the smartest minds in Marvel. He's mastered sciences we don't even have names for. And he's strategically brilliant. He spent years planning his move for the Infinity Stones.
True, true. One must respect a well-executed plan, even from a villain. Though speaking of intelligence, DARKSEID isn't exactly a brute either, is he? I've read accounts of his machinations across your universe. The man plans in terms of millennia. He's corrupted entire planets through subtle manipulation, rather than outright conquest. That's rather sophisticated for a walking apocalypse.
DARKSEID's patience is one of his most dangerous qualities. He'll spend centuries setting up dominoes just to watch them fall in a specific pattern. He's not just physically overwhelming. He's been alive for hundreds of thousands of years. That kind of experience makes him nearly impossible to surprise. I've fought him. It's like fighting inevitability itself.
How poetic. Fighting inevitability. That's rather what we both do, isn't it? In our own ways. But let's get tactical for a moment. If these two were to actually fight, what would be the determining factors? Presumably we're talking about THANOS with the complete Infinity Gauntlet versus DARKSEID in his standard form. Yes.
That's the usual setup people debate. And honestly, it depends on prep time and location. If THANOS has the gauntlet and they're fighting in Marvel's universe, THANOS probably wins. The gauntlet makes him essentially omnipotent there. He could literally rewrite reality to make DARKSEID never exist. But if they're in DC's universe, the gauntlet might not work at all.
Ah yes, the infamous crossover problem. Comics do love their rules about universal power sources. So theoretically, if they met on neutral ground, some nexus point between universes, THANOS might be significantly depowered while DARKSEID remains constant. That seems rather unfair to our purple friend, doesn't it? Though life rarely is fair.
Without the gauntlet, DARKSEID takes it. THANOS is tough, but DARKSEID is a new god. Different weight class entirely. THANOS has been beaten by groups of heroes. DARKSEID has fought the entire Justice League simultaneously and won. He's conquered thousands of worlds. His true form supposedly can't even enter normal reality without destroying it. What we fight is basically an avatar.
That's rather humbling, I imagine. Makes one wonder about the nature of the threats you face regularly. Though I suppose Gotham's criminals must seem quite quaint by comparison. No offense to your usual rogues, of course. The Joker is delightfully theatrical, after all.
Gotham's different. DARKSEID is a cosmic threat, the League handles him. But the Joker, he's killed thousands, destroyed countless lives, and he does it with a smile. Scale isn't everything. A virus is smaller than a person, but it can kill just as effectively. Besides, I can prepare for DARKSEID's patterns. The Joker actively tries to be unpredictable. That's its own kind of nightmare.
An excellent point. Chaos versus order, in a sense. DARKSEID represents tyrannical order, everything in its place, all serving him. The Joker represents pure anarchic chaos. In a way, they're opposite ends of a spectrum. And Thanos, he sits somewhere in the middle, doesn't he? Order through chaos. Balance through destruction. The ultimate centrist position. Absurdly taken to its logical extreme.
I never thought about Thanos as a centrist, but that's kind of accurate. He genuinely thinks he's being reasonable. Half of all life is a compromise in his mind. DARKSEID would never compromise. It's total domination or nothing. That difference in philosophy affects how they fight. Thanos can be reasoned with theoretically. DARKSEID can't. You either submit or you're destroyed.
Thanos might actually try to negotiate or form an alliance initially. He's worked with others before when it suited him. DARKSEID, on the other hand, views everyone as either a servant or an obstacle. There's no middle ground with a god. Do you think Thanos would recognize that quickly enough?
Thanos is smart enough to recognize another apex predator. He'd see DARKSEID isn't someone you can manipulate or bargain with. That's when it becomes a pure fight. And in a straight fight without the gauntlet, I give it to DARKSEID. He's stronger, more durable, has more versatile powers, and has been fighting for eons. Thanos is tough, but he's been beaten by determined groups before.
But with the gauntlet, assuming it functions properly, that shifts things considerably. Reality manipulation is rather difficult to counter, even for a god. Though I imagine DARKSEID's sheer force of will might resist mental manipulation. The man conquered the very concept of tyranny itself. That's not someone whose mind you simply rewrite on a whim, is it?
The Infinity Gauntlet isn't just telepathy, though. It's fundamental reality control. Thanos could theoretically just make DARKSEID not a god anymore. Remove his powers, change his history, turn him into a regular mortal. That's the thing about omnipotence. Well, it doesn't matter if someone can just edit the code of reality itself. It's not a battle at that point. It's authorship.
Now there's a disturbing thought. The ultimate power isn't strength or intelligence, but the ability to simply rewrite the rules entirely. Very biblical, in a way. God doesn't defeat the devil through combat, but through definitional authority.
I say what is real.
Though that makes these cosmic artifacts rather terrifying, doesn't it? The idea that collected rocks could grant that kind of power.
That's why the gauntlet was destroyed in their universe, eventually. Nobody should have that power. Same reason we keep kryptonite locked away, or why Lex Luthor can't ever get his hands on certain technologies. Some power corrupts absolutely just by existing. The temptation alone is dangerous. At least DARKSEID's power is limited to what he can physically accomplish. He can't just wish people away.
A fitting note to end on. The cosmic and the personal, the spectacular and the mundane, all equally dangerous in their own contexts. Well, Batman, this has been surprisingly enlightening. I came here expecting a simple discussion about fictional characters punching each other, and instead we've explored fascism, free will, and the nature of hope. Not a bad way to spend an evening, all things considered.
Could have been worse. Could have been discussing whether Superman or Goku would win. That debate never ends and people get genuinely angry about it. At least with Thanos and DARKSEID, we can acknowledge the ambiguity. Though I should get going. Gotham doesn't protect itself, and Alfred gets worried if I'm gone too long. He thinks I'll get into trouble.
How fortunate to have someone who cares enough to worry. Do give Alfred my regards. I'll return to my own work as well. These masks don't just wear themselves, and ideas don't spread without effort. Perhaps we'll do this again sometime.
Though if you're ever in Gotham and things go sideways, you know how to reach me. The enemy of my enemy and all that. Just maybe tone down the explosives. Property damage complaints are already through the roof.